Welcome back to the Culturally Distinct Podcast. It's your boy DJ KO. I'm glad you guys tuned back into the show. It's been a long time. Last week I couldn't get to you guys, but this week I'm back. I'm glad you guys tuned in. I'm glad you guys who hit me up told me about the last week's show about Chris Senegal and some of the things that he was talking about real estate. I'm glad it helped a lot of people, even though we're in this trying time right now in terms of funding, banking, also trying to get buy a house. You know, it's kind of difficult, but I'm glad the brother came on and gave us some of his information and enlightened us on some of the keys that we need to be successful in terms of real estate. But today, I'm glad you guys tuned in because we have a special show. We have a repeat individual that came to the show that hasn't been here in a while. And we was talking on camera, and I didn't realize that it's been almost 4 years.
Almost 4 years, yeah.
Since this sister has been on. I'm pretty sure you've seen this individual before in the city of Houston.
Hey.
You probably seen her legs because she's also known as the Hot Doc in Hills. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, guys, I'm glad you guys tuned in. But make sure you guys subscribe to the show. Make sure you tell a friend to tell a friend, and we're gonna continue to keep this thing going. So, without further notice, we got my girl, Dr. Vanessa Barrow, today. What's going on, Doc?
Hello, thank you for having me. Hello, Houston. What's up, Houston? I miss y'all. Miss being on the mic. Glad to be back.
Look, you got hand claps. You can't hear it right now. I'll give you some hand claps.
Hey, I hear some whistles in the background.
Yeah. So how you
the
been?
Snaps.
You look. Last time I saw you was in 2019.
Probably late 2019.
But you look the same.
I got to keep it tight.
Because, most people in 2019, that pandemic weight done jumped on
Hey,
them.
pandemic pounds was real.
Okay. They done gained probably about 30, 40.
Hey, exactly. I mean, pandemic was no joke. It hit everybody in a different way.
Yes.
So, and if you didn't have that, that discipline beforehand, then either you didn't work out or you learned something new and you started to just, work out every day.
Yeah,
outside figured it out.
They was working out. They was working out their hand to their face.
Man, they was ordering all the food because it was delivered straight to their door.
Right.
So that was, that exactly.
That's right. You know what's funny though, and we're going to get into this later, but you know what's funny? During the pandemic, they had, let's see, a national thing, 2.3 new businesses that started within the pandemic, and of course, most of those businesses are not here because of PPP fraud. But
right.
That's another story. But that was a good thing. It was like a blessing and a curse with some people.
It was.
So, and I know you, as being a foot doctor, you had a booming business.
Right.
Pre-pandemic.
Pre-pandemic, yeah.
So
I would say at the height of at the early start of 2020, things were amazing, for my business. And then everything, unfortunately, came to a screeching halt. I started my business in 2018, actually. I purchased it from a retiring physician. And so it was everything. It was kind of turnkey, if you will. Mm-hmm. So I already had existing overhead, existing, employees, existing incoming revenue. So it was basically kind of like double dutch my way in and just keep it going and make it even more of a success. So that's how it started in 2018. But still, at the same, in the same breath, it's new to me. And so it's still kind of a fledgling business. So imagine a fledgling business coming to a screeching halt in 2020.
Right.
And all of a sudden, all that overhead and all that, there's no revenue coming in.
So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the challenges that you face because, like you said, you started your business in 2018 and saying, okay, well, I started my new business. I'm happy. I'm excited. I'm inspired. Right. And I have this new thing, this new endeavor that I'm going into. And it looked bright.
Yes.
And it was bright until, the pandemic hit.
Exactly.
So what was the first thing? I'm talking about in terms of the mental health side of it. Like, I was like, what in the hell? Did you get anxiety?
Yeah, it was shock. It was shock. It was like, okay, how am I going to navigate this? Because nobody had the answers. There obviously was no no instruction manual for this,
Right.
for the entire world. Everyone was, just figuring it out as they went along. And so entrepreneurs had to do the same thing. And in that first week now, I mean, just, personally, that I know for a fact, I caught COVID March 13th of 2020. And that for a fact.
Okay.
Reason being, I remember, not feeling well, going out and saying, I'm going to go for a run. And then all of a sudden I check my temperature, it's 103. And I'm like, well, clearly I know I had it because, it was exhaustion, everything else. And the week leading up to that, I had done surgery. I had seen patients in nursing homes. I seen my own patients, so the first thing going through my mind is like, okay, I just infected half of everybody I just treated. Wow. That's the first thing so obviously fear, as a healthcare provider, I'm worried about my patients, but everybody was so new and no one knew anything about it. Even when I called, some of the, facilities, hospitals, they didn't know what to do either, so there was no protocol for this. So as a business, I had my staff, I had office manager, a patient care coordinator, and a medical assistant.
Okay.
And, when you got 4 women in a small office, we get close. So they're like family. Well, one of them did definitely, okay. But in the same breath, I'm their employer, so I had to think really fast what to do for the people that I sign checks to,
right? Because
I'm their bread and butter. I'm the one that is providing for them, right? And so I had to think really fast, and that was the scary part because that's what. You'd never, that's not the first thing you think about when you become a business owner. Like, okay, who am I going to have to fire at the drop of a hat?
Right. And that's what I want to ask. I want to ask that. That's the first question I want to ask for us in terms of your employees. Mm-hmm. Now, you say you have 4 employees. Pandemic hit. Mm-hmm. As you can see, everything it's a permanent shutdown, national shutdown. And as a business owner, he's like, oh, okay, what am I going to do? Do I still pay these people? Do I tell them to come in online wasn't even a thing yet. Mm-mm. So telehealth. What did you do?
So rewind. So what happened when they were even whispering about a shutdown and when COVID had just started to make more buzzworthy anything, I remember that Monday of that week before the shutdown, I told them, I said, girls, stop what you're doing. I want you all to file for unemployment right now. I want you to start your application because this is going to get worse. Right. I had hindsight. I'm sorry. And I told them all, I said, start it now because in about a week, it's going to crash. You're not going to get in. I said, I want you all to start now. So that's what they did. I on my, on company time, I'm like, file. By the end of the week, and I remember on Thursday, I talked to one of my best friends in banking. Mm-hmm. You've had her on the show. And I remember us discussing because, she was going through so much as well, with her clients. And I remember her saying, you still have your staff? Meaning you can't afford them.
Right. If revenue was coming in.
Revenue, and right, because I had no patients coming in.
Right.
Everyone thinks like, oh, you're a doctor, you're going to be fine. Patient. I said, no, I'm a specialist and I'm a surgeon.
Right.
Elective surgery you couldn't do. And if somebody, they're not going to see a specialist if they don't have to. Correct. You're going to push that out and you're going to wait.
So surgeries wasn't going on during the pandemic?
Elective surgeries.
Oh, like stuff that you needed.
Yeah, unless you had a fracture, you fractured your ankle, yes, that has to be fixed. Right. But elective surgeries, cosmetic surgeries. Right, yeah. But so on that end of that week, I let all my girls go, and I think it was such a confusing time. At the time they really didn't understand what was going on and why I was having to do it like that. Mm-hmm. And I think for a minute, and I love my girls, I think that they resented me for it because I didn't hear from them for. I did not hear from them. But yeah, one of my staff members had a little girl, and I'm just like, whatever I can do, I'm gonna do what I can. But
you're a good employee.
Also, I gotta pay for me.
Right. I was about to
I'm my employee. I am an employee of my business.
Your business pays you.
Yes, that's how we have 4 employees. Exactly. So how am I gonna survive? How am I gonna pay my bills? So those are things that I had to think of as well.
So let me ask you this. In terms, because I know some individuals that's in the dentistry field, and they what they did, they partnered with other dentistries because they said, well, the overhead was too high. So instead of having one that they're supplying most of their revenue on, they just had two, and so whoever had the biggest one, they just came in together to work together. Well, did you ever think about partnering with?
No, because I was able to do everything, kind of on my own. That's one thing I learned. I basically became, a one-woman show. That to me, that was the best way to reduce overhead, and then figure out where to direct, the necessary finances and where they were going to go. There was no way it was going to bring in more patients,
right?
Because patients weren't coming in.
So what did you learn
in the beginning?
What did you learn from that? Like something, if another pandemic happens, are you prepared?
Well, yeah, that's tough to say. Only reason because we know now. We didn't have a pandemic before, so I think globally we're a little bit more prepared. And I think that people, you know how to distance patients, you know how to sanitize between, you know how to do this, do that, reserve your PPE, you know how to triage your patients and say, okay, well, this needs to come in because this is an infected whatever, and this can wait, this is just a little tendinitis. So there's certain things that, I think we figured that much out. Throughout this, how to triage things, where to put the most important people. One thing I can say is that, the part that brings in a good amount of revenue for the practice is I service a nursing home and assisted living facility. Okay. But during the pandemic, guess who they weren't letting in? A lot of unless they were, because
really,
yes,
I thought they was letting like nurse. Well, you said
no, only if there was something that was just really necessary.
Right.
You again triage, because when I go into the homes, it is for preventive care. It's preventive, like checks, like you going to get a checkup.
Yeah.
So it's preventive care, make sure everybody good. I go once every 3 months. If there's nothing, serious going on, I don't need to be there.
Right.
But they were taking such precautions because all their entire population was immune compromised because they're elderly patients. So that's revenue that I didn't have for almost 2 years.
2 years, yeah. So what has changed? Because the business model, because I'm talking about as far as the business model in the health field, like what has changed? Because I know a lot of stuff, like in my business, has changed in terms of online.
Okay.
Everything is now 80% online for us.
A lot is, yeah.
But before it wasn't, we didn't have a big online presence, but now we, set up all our appointments online versus doing it the old school way.
Yeah.
Come in, walk in, set an appointment, or via phone. What has changed in your field?
Well, so number one, everyone does talk about telehealth. A lot of what I do is hands-on. I can't give a shot. It's like, yes, foot doctor, but it's like it's under the umbrella of orthopedics.
Right.
So if you got an ankle sprain, you can show me through the camera. I can do what I can do.
Let me see
I can't take
foot.
X-rays. I can't. Right. People do that. They want to hold it up to the camera. I'm like, okay.
Let me see your foot.
What that look like? Like, what you think this is?
Right.
Right. No. So, and that's happened. That still happens. They'll take. I've had, but there are some things I can do. Where I can do telehealth. Like I will have clinical images. So yes, somebody can take a picture of something they think might be infected, and they send it, and I'm just like, okay, well, we can do a short course antibiotics, blah blah blah. Send me. So yes, so telemedicine is something, but it's not huge in what I do because a lot is hands-on, just like in orthopedics, any aspect of orthopedics, whether it be shoulder, hand, hip, whatever, that's a hands-on thing. Just like dentistry, dental, anything.
Right. But
you can't just show a picture, you're like, you got to get up in there.
And my left one in the back.
What do you think this is? But yes, so rash is one thing.
Right.
Anyway, gynecology. I don't know about that one, but
look at that, doc. What that is? That little bump right there. Nah.
Bless him. So yes, but so telehealth was a very small part of me being able to adapt. Part of my practice.
Okay.
But just like you said, a lot of things are online.
I want to ask you this, and I want to ask you this because this is something that's big right now. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but AI. It's a big thing.
Yes.
So they say about the year 2026, 300 million jobs will be gone.
Yep.
300 million.
Yeah.
Not 300, 300 million jobs will be gone.
Oh, absolutely. And
right?
I believe it. Absolutely.
So
there's AI in surgery. Absolutely.
So I never, at first I didn't believe it because I was part of the old school.
But you see it blowing up.
And I started doing it though. And I started seeing the results of it, that not just 10x, it's like 50x, right? In a span of like that. So, in terms of AI, are you willing, or have you ever like indulged
Well, like virtual assistants and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Yes and no. The reason I say that, during the pandemic, I even had something as small as answering service. Let's say an answering service. Answering service, so that took, I didn't have to answer the phone, you know, and they could make a point. But the thing is, people don't, unless you know what I do and you know how to book properly, then you messing the whole schedule up.
Right.
You can't book somebody that has a broken foot, you know, at the same time you book somebody this and book somebody that, because it's messing everything up. So unless you know how things flow, and that's why, you know, that's how I teach my staff. Learn what I do, learn the diagnoses, learn how long it might take. If somebody says, okay, I have an ingrown nail. All right, then you know they're most likely going to be a 30-minute procedure, and I have to do that in office. Or somebody says, oh, I think I have a broken this. That's going to be x-rays. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So if the artificial intelligence, is going to be so fine-tuned that it could book properly, ask the proper questions, not just book appointments.
Well, and I'm not saying I'm an advocate for
Virtual?
AI.
Okay.
But I done seen the results, and I couldn't believe it.
I'm an advocate. I am 100% an advocate for things like that.
I didn't believe it though, because I'm a conspiracy theorist. You know, the world coming to an end. I ain't doing that shit.
It's it's advancement of technology. I mean, it's just things are only gonna get more sophisticated. As we move closer to the future. I mean, it really is. I mean, like my biggest thing is like stem cell and regenerative medicine and stuff like that. So things will become more sophisticated, and unfortunately, I mean, it's gonna be errors with those things too. But just like we have human error, there's gonna be technology errors. Those things do happen.
Yes, they do. Glitches.
So as long as you as long as you understand that, you can't blame like, oh, well, we knew robots weren't going to work. I'm like, well, humans make errors too. So, it's a computing error. Absolutely.
Sometimes we make errors sometimes. So you spoke about the future. What's the future for Dr. Vanessa Barrow?
It's
a deep question.
right, exactly.
I'm swimming.
No, I just really want, obviously, number one is for my practice to reach the, pre-pandemic success levels that it had, because, it was really just, on its way. It was like a locomotive, right before, and then everything just stopped. So in the past 3 years, because everyone, and that's kind of tough as an entrepreneur, because you see some other people like, oh, you've been flourishing since then, and I'm not. I mean, comparison's a thief of joy, is it not?
Right.
You start comparing yourself to other people and other businesses, then you're just going to feel like you're never doing anything right.
Right.
Or you're going to think you're doing everything right and not feel like you're infallible. So, but the future is definitely, to bring it back to pre-pandemic status and success, and just continue to flourish. And that's most important for me, because I know a lot of other people are like, oh, I want to open multiple locations. I want to do this. I want to do. That's not my goal, right now.
Right.
My goal is, let me get this. I'm not the type of person to have my hands in 10 different things. And just, be, know a little bit about a lot of things instead of a lot about one thing,
Right. They call that a master of all trades, jack of none, or something.
Exactly.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You meet a lot of people with their hands in a lot of different things, and they're like, hey, invest in this, do this, do this, do this. And the thing is, I'm all about my practice. My practice is my baby. That is my baby.
So on the show, I don't know if you've been watching the show, and I could speak this confidently, right? Every time somebody came up in here and said whatever they wanted to do, it came to fruition. That's a power that we have over here.
There you go.
So whatever you're wanting to speak in, because this is what I heard, and I believe this, and it resonated with me. How people say things and the universe respects it.
Yes.
Somebody was like, nah, I don't believe that.
Totally. Yeah, put in the universe.
I believe the universe gives you what you are.
There you go.
So whatever your mindset is, whatever your hustle is, the universe is
listening.
Gonna give it to you.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. It's just like, instead of saying have a nice day, have the day you deserve.
I like that. That's real.
That's real. Have the day you deserve. It doesn't mean bad at all. It's just have the day that you deserve.
That's right.
So what you put into it. And, you know, there's days and people see, so my social media, which one thing during the pandemic, obviously, social media, you know, blossomed more than people ever imagined, especially with TikTok and everything else. I mean, just for entertainment. But marketing wise, I mean, you know, I tell people all the time, they're like, oh, do you have a business card? I'm like, nope. Follow me on social media, DM me, you and get me just like that.
Right.
Period.
Yeah, that's true.
And I get you in here. I'm a, you know, make connections, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, social media is something I've done myself. And that's the thing. I've hired social media marketing groups and content creating, all this other stuff. And to me, it just wasn't, you know, it may be good for some people, but for me personally, it just took away that authentic, aspect of it. Because when people see me, because I am my brand. My face is my brand.
Right. When they see you, they're like, oh, that's Doc right there.
Exactly.
Right. That's the doctor with the legs right there. Yeah.
Right. And they're like, it's really you. You're the one answering. Oh, my gosh. And so that's one thing I can say is a plus is that people do feel like it's almost like concierge medicine.
It can be intimidating.
A little bit. Well, but they love it. And so one thing, you know, they're like, I got the doctor on the line. You know, right. It's a big deal. And the doctor's talking to me.
Hey, doc.
And I'm just like, and I said, I got you. Like I talked to a young lady today and I was just like, I'm so glad I met you. I can't wait to see you next week. New patient and everything. And so those are parts I really do enjoy. It can be overwhelming because I mean, I literally am doing everything. I mean, you know, I'm in surgery. I'm in this. I'm in that. I'm doing literally everything. So it's exhausting. It's overwhelming. There's a rewarding aspect to it. No, I don't want it to be like this all the time.
Right.
But this is a necessity right now.
Okay.
You know, just because what you see online and they see all these things and they're like, oh, well, she must be, you know, balling. She must be doing this. And I'm like, do you know entrepreneur? Do you know what doctors make? Everybody, because especially an entrepreneurial doctor. Now, I've worked for, you know, companies that, yes, will pay hefty.
Salary,
yeah, that's a different story.
Right.
You making a lot of money. When you a doctor in practice.
You got bills to pay.
Oh, you got bills to pay. So don't be thinking.
at work, you got bills to pay with your business and bills at home.
Exactly. You got overhead, you know, you got rent, you got this, you got that. So medical supplies, you know, malpractice insurance. You know, people don't know all this stuff. And they also don't realize how doctors are paid, especially with insurance. We may not get paid for 30 60, days. 90, 120 days afterwards.
Right.
There was one time I got paid a year after I did a surgery.
Wow.
A whole year.
Because the insurance didn't.
Because they didn't want to pay me.
Yeah,
so you fighting back and forth. And they're like, oh, you forgot to dot this I.
Right.
So, you know, people don't understand that aspect of private practice. That's why a lot of doctors want cash pay. And so I do offer cash pay. And we love that because you're not going to fight getting paid. With insurance companies, you know, I did I had to amputate this guy's toe. I mean, diabetic, infected. You know, it's a necessity. You had to do it.
Right.
Billed out $1,900. I got reimbursed $100 on it. Actually, $108.74.
But insurance didn't want to pay for it. Oh,
no, that's just what that's just what they paid. That's what they reimbursed. And so people don't understand. Like you can reimburse $1 million, but they gonna give you $500.
Right.
Like if I'm doing an Achilles tendon repair, you tear your Achilles tendon, I fix that. Bill out $3,000. Might get paid $700.
So I'm gonna tell you.
That's a different story. If I had a patient that paid out of pocket. She didn't have insurance, but she chose to not have insurance, you know. And so her total bill, not from me, was $15,000 because you're paying the facility fee. Yeah. And I said, and the thing is, you know, you're not going to get worked over or screwed over by doctors because there is a website. fairhealthconsumer.org. Anybody can go to it. It's public, and you can see exactly what the national average is for a certain surgery. Yeah. So you can show that to your doctor and be like, you can't charge me more than this because this is what this is. And that I never do that.
Okay.
So there's a surgeon's fee, but then you have the facility fee, the anesthesia fee. Yeah. Right. So
the the rental,
every little piece of gauze they use. They count that.
$15 per gauze. And,
I even had this when this patient was paying out of pocket and they was about to open something. I said, don't open it. Like, I'm thinking of my patient. I'm like, don't open a new pack. We good. She's going to be fine. You know, trying to save her money.
Oh, you're
a
good doctor.
I am a good doctor. I mean, hopefully the universe hears that. No, but yeah, so she ended up paying $15,000, but what she actually paid me was probably a couple thousand.
Right.
That's it. Everything else was at the facility, anesthesia, and
I didn't know that.
Yeah, people don't know that. So it's not the doctor that's charging all the money. You know,
it's insurance.
It's the insurance, and not the insurance. And then if it's out of pocket, then it's just It's just what the national average is.
So let me ask you this. You said you spoke on a little bit about marketing, right?
Okay.
And you said how you had a content creator, you had somebody, social media person.
Digital marketing, yes.
So you know the new marketing tool right now is the blue check.
Yes.
So do you think the blue check will be effective?
No, not anymore. Before, yes. Now, no, because anybody can get it.
Right.
So, and I don't think it's not, everyone's making fun of people who are getting it. And I'm like, you know what? Because the way Meta is pushing it, they're pushing it as page protection. And, well, what's funny to me is one of the perks is putting up a sticker I don't know, which is silly to me.
That's crazy.
It's silly. I see people who didn't have a blue check and they now got a blue check. And I'm not making fun of them at all. I'm like,
No, I am.
I'm not because I don't have a blue check. To put it like this, before the blue check was offered for pay, people were like, you need to go ahead and submit because you've been on television.
You're an influencer.
You have enough
People
followers.
know you. Yeah, right.
You're in the magazine, you're in media. They're like, you would get a blue check no matter what. But the thing is, now you can't distinguish who quote unquote earned it versus who quote unquote paid for it.
Right.
You kind of know. I mean, if you know social media, then you know you kind of know who paid for it. But the thing is, but I get how Meta's trying to do it, But the thing is, okay, because there's going to be something else. It's going to be a next level.
That's what I said.
It's going to be a next level.
I said the same thing. I said it's going to be red checks now for real influencers.
Yep.
And the thing is, all that money that they made, because the thing is now,
yes.
Reels on Instagram, they don't pay them no more.
Nope.
So, but they say, okay, we have to find another way to make money.
Right.
And that blue check deal, how they made that, $600 million in a month or something
Absolutely.
like that?
Absolutely.
I was like, that is crazy.
And so, people are, some people I'm sure did it for the reason to, maybe they wanted to feel important. Like I said, I ain't talking about bad nobody. Some people probably did that. They got 200 followers, but they got a blue check, and don't do nothing. You know what? But guess what? They got page protection.
Oh, man.
No one's going to make a fake page about their stuff. So it's now losing its credibility. It's losing its effectiveness, because if everybody has it, then what makes you different and what makes you special?
It's oversaturated.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and so it's just interesting to see. So I'm never going to submit mine now because you ain't going to know if I got chosen or if I paid for it. Right. So who cares? So does it matter? But even if I did pay for it, should I feel bad about paying for it?
Yeah.
But the thing is, wait, let me finish. The only reason, yes, is because Instagram is free.
Right.
So the reason I market so hard on there is because marketing is overhead for me. So this is free marketing. Facebook is free marketing. Now, when you start to boost posts, then you pay a little bit. You pay a little bit, whatever. But, if I'm in doing some promotion in some magazine, then yes, you pay for that. So you set aside money that you're going to use for marketing, sure. But Instagram is free.
Right.
And so when you start paying for it, then now that's new overhead for you. I don't care if it's $1 or if it's $100 or $15. But now you're paying for this.
Well, let me ask you this. And this is my last question in closing.
Okay.
Well, actually, I got two of them, but
okay.
So you're a doctor, but I know you're still in medicine, so you understand this weight loss still.
Yes.
Right. And the big thing right now is going on is Ozempic.
Mm-hmm.
Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro.
Yes.
Is it worth it?
Depends on what your end goal is and depends on why you're using it.
The reason why I asked you that question, because your legs, you work out a lot, your physique, you've been a competitor, everything. So I'm pretty sure you're good. You're in health. You're not just working in the health field, but you're also healthy.
Right. Which is part of the marketing too.
Absolutely. The face is everything, right?
Right. Exactly. You can't be an obese doctor talking about you need to lose weight.
Right. And breathing.
Can't be the dentist, with jacked up teeth. Anyway.
Nah, but do you think it's worth it?
Again, it just depends on the end goal. If you are doing it for weight management and then you end up changing your lifestyle and it ends up making you just overall globally a healthy person, you change, your eating habits, you change your lifestyle habits, that's a different story. But I remind people it's a lifetime drug for most people. It's not a temporary thing because once you go off of it, even if you did change your lifestyle habits, some of those that pound's going to come back. if they don't really care, you gain weight again, repeat business.
Right. Why not?
You know,
If I was a doctor, I'm like, all right.
Exactly. I mean, you would
Surgeon.
think that, but see, I want my patients to get better. Obviously,
you. You care. You care.
Everybody practices differently.
You have a heart.
I do.
You have a heart.
Everybody, obviously, I don't go trip my patients back out in the parking lot. Like, oh, you better? Hold on, right?
Like, oops.
We know.
Oh, you got another fracture?
We're not gonna Tanya Hard, Nancy Kerrigan people out in the right. No, I'm not trying to hurt nobody. I know. I need the money anyway. But what?
So look, let me ask you
Dr. Barrow need the money. Another way.
Need the money. Look, you need some
keep me in
investors
business,
over
Houston.
there. It is. So let me ask you this last question: is it all worth it?
Oh, I love what I do. At the end of the day, I freaking love what I do. I'll be honest with you. It's with entrepreneurs, it's a roller coaster. It's days you want to cry. It's days where you like, is this office building gonna lock me out because I'm this late on my rent payment? I mean, this is reality. I mean, I'm just saying, some people experience that. Yeah. Some people, what's gonna be in my business checking account today? That happens. That's reality. And, I think that the people that see me and they see social media and they think they obviously have a different idea, but, you have to really love what you do.
Would you go back? Go back to
making the other money?
Yeah. Salary?
No. Because that's one of the reasons I made a lot of money, and they, because it's all production based and the bonuses are amazing benefit package, all that stuff. I mean, I made a lot of money, but I couldn't practice at all the way I practice now.
I got you. Freedom.
Autonomy.
Yeah.
Independence.
That too, yeah.
And it's not even just about like, I can't play well with others, because I get along with many people. That's not it. Meaning, other colleagues and whatever.
I'm like, you're not helping me.
You don't deviate from the recipe. You don't deviate from the recipe.
Don't worry about it, brother.
If you do, and when I did, I got called out. I was let go from this company because they said that basically they're like, we don't feel that you're a good fit. They said you're one of the top producing doctors here. Yeah. And all the patients love you, but we just don't feel like you're a good fit, because I kept wanting to do more. I kept wanting to do more for the patient. Patient wasn't getting better. I'm like, we got to do this. We got to try this. We got to try this. And when you're in some of those situations, that's frowned upon.
Right.
They have their protocols and their recipes, and, you go against that, it's frowned upon. So me being in this position, has afforded me to be able to practice medicine the way my patients deserve, because my patients deserve better.
That's good. I like that. You know what? You're the first doctor ever had a conversation with that cared about their patient. Of course, doctors.
Yes, they do. No, you're right.
They care about their patients on a topical,
superficial level. Yeah, I know.
But it's not like look, I know you eating them hog maws, and
yeah,
you gain
I
that
talk
weight.
to my patients exactly. I keep it real.
Right.
And because I can be myself with my patients and be honest with them and tell them, exactly, A to Z, this is what we can do the least, or we can do the most. And I would say, if you was my mama, if you was my sister, if you was my child, if you was this is what I would do personally.
Right.
And I said, because they always ask, doctor, well, what would you do? And I'll be honest with them. I wouldn't do that surgery. Or I wouldn't tell my mother to go for that surgery. I'll be honest with you, and so that's the difference, because me saying that, we're not going to, I wouldn't do that surgery, that means less money.
Right.
I'm not getting, paid for that or whatever, so, but that's being honest.
So there are some good people still out here.
There's some good people still out here. And despite what you've heard, there's some good doctors, and we're not out for money, even though, you hear all this medical fraud, you hear everything else, because, we're not getting paid. But at the end of the day, karma, okay?
Yeah, it's real. Like you said again, the universe gives you what you are.
Exactly. What you put in, yeah. So
that's good, Doc. That's good. That's a great conversation. I like that. I like that. Now you give me more faith and more hope into doctors. Even though my doctor now is a woman, a Indian woman, person of color. I'm done with the brothers, but
well, I hear that a lot. I hear a lot of people gravitating towards female doctors, for maybe the nurturing aspect of it. I really do. And
care.
nothing against the brothers, nothing against the male doctors, nothing like that. But there is a difference, and I've heard it from my patients.
Right.
So, but anyway, I digress.
Yeah, it's all good. We could talk all day about this, and the conversation was awesome. But the most important thing, I want people to know, how can they get in contact with you?
Oh, easy. I mean, the easiest way is Soul Aesthetic TX. SOLEAESTHETICTX, Soul Aesthetic TX on Instagram, or you can look up Hot Doc and Heels. You can Google Dr. Vanessa Barrow. I'm on there. Website is the same, Soul Aesthetic TX. That's the best way to contact me, because you get me. You will get me. Obviously, we've been talking all day.
Right.
It's only me. Right. So you get to talk to the doctor. There's not that many, out there where you just talking to the doctor directly.
Right.
But you DM me on Instagram, I got you. You call the office, you leave a message, I text you back. So I get back to you. But yes, find me on Instagram, find me on Facebook. You can find me, on the website, or you can call the office. So.
There it is. Y'all heard it. Soul Aesthetic, right? Soul Aesthetic. So you guys make sure, as the music comes back on, make sure you guys hit Doc up. It's good people. She gonna take care of you. Yeah. And look, again, the DMs are for business.
Yeah, don't be sliding for different reasons.
Because
y'all better slide in there with a limp. Don't be
with a purpose. Slide with a purpose.
Let me say.
Slide with a purpose.
Tell you one thing. Remember, it's a business page. Okay, people. So. I do not entertain anything else. Even though you're talking to me, you will get blocked.
Oh, the doctor gonna block you. The blocking doctor.
The block doc.
The block doc. That's it.
Unless you got something wrong with your foot. And don't be making an appointment because you're trying to ask me out. Because that ain't happening either.
It's what happens. It happens sometimes.
It happens all the time.
You know what? You never know.
But I might end up fixing what you got, so sorry.
There you go. Guys, y'all heard it right there, the best. So, guys, I appreciate you guys for tuning in the show. Make sure you hit Doc up one more time, Doc. Give me information. Well, how can they find you?
Find me on Google. Find my website, soulaesthetichtx.com. You can call the office, 713-666. That's 666-9934. But Instagram, I got you. You message me, DM me, Hot Doc and Heels, Soul Aesthetic on Instagram. I got you.
There you go. Make sure if y'all see her out at Papa Do's or at Urban Soul Shoe somewhere, y'all can holler at her then, but not.
Don't take your shoe off, because I'm going to charge you.
Be like, Doc, I got a bunion right here.
Yeah, you going to pay me right then on the spot. Anyway, got too much of that going on. Right. Don't take your shoe off in front of me.
But guys, we got to get out of here, guys. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you continue to log in, tell a friend to tell a friend. Coastly Distinct Podcast, your boy DTKO. I'm glad you guys tuned in. I love you guys. Remember, I love you, and you can't do nothing about it. Peace.